For the last year, I've been working quietly on a project that I'll be releasing this year as my first commercial game. The game's called Asterogues, and it's a bullet hell roguelite. Set in space, you pick from a variety of unique characters who will fight their way through the solar system on their own revenge quest against the sun. I thought it would be a good idea to start some devlogs so people would know about my game before it launches, and showing the development process could be pretty interesting or helpful. The game is actually building on the groundwork I started with my first ever finished game project a few years ago during the 2020 quarantine. I spent some time working on other game jams and getting better after this, but now I've been able to circle back, find a publisher for this project that I always believed in but wasn't able to do justice at the time. You can see there's been a huge glow up since then, and I'm doing what I can to turn this into a commercial success. Now, before I start making videos on what I'm currently working on, I better share a little bit about the unique gameplay and why I thought it was worth making a game in such a saturated genre. At surface level, Asterogues is very much a bullet hell roguelite. You move through a Slay the Spire style map in different areas of space, beating rooms of enemies and finding unique events and shops. Asterogues is different from most of those roguelites though because it isn't a traditional shooter. Each playable character in Asterogues has a unique mechanic that uses enemy bullets against them and has little or no effect without enemy interaction. So the focus is lifted massively off of shooter style gameplay mechanics, so dodging, taking cover and peeking. Instead, it's leaning more heavily on bullet hell style gameplay, which involves things like weaving and grazing. Weaving being moving through bullets instead of just escaping from fire like dodging is. And grazing is a mechanic where you're barely dodging bullets, essentially grazing past them in order to gain some kind of bonus. As someone who really enjoys weaving gameplay, I'm never really able to enjoy bullet hell games because the graphics and structure of those games never really grabbed me. So this is a game that I made for people like me that really enjoy that, but wrapped in the game structure of a fun roguelite like Enter the Gungeon or Nuclear Throne. One thing I'm working towards is to be able to make something of a character shooter, so think of like TF2 or Overwatch, to build a colourful cast of playable characters that all offer something very unique, but always follow a few core principles. Using enemy strength against them, no free shots, which means you need to take a risk in order to get a payoff for the ability, and feeling fun and overpowered in the right scenario. A good example of this is Pluto. His unique ability is called Orbit, and with Orbit you can graze enemy bullets to grab them into your gravitational pull, and when you release them from orbit you fire those bullets back out at enemies. If you're really good at weaving, then he offers a really high damage output and great range. His only drawback is he doesn't have any kind of defensive ability, so he has to be in action at all times. Another character is Void. They can use the Void hand to absorb bullets into themselves and convert them into charge, and then when releasing charge they create a pulse attack that hurts enemies in a cone. When an enemy is weakened, they can even suck them up with the Void hand and convert them into charge. Void is very bursty when it comes to damage output, and they have a defensively leaning power, but they have a very short range to deal with. The last character that I'll mention today is Hydra, who is a parasite and has the ability to infest enemies and take over their bodies. While inside an enemy, they're protected from harm and they can shoot as that enemy. The only weakness is that without a host, it has very low HP and it's easily killed. Characters are very hard to design for Asterogues because of the restrictions for abilities that I'm giving myself. The gameplay just doesn't work if you give a character a regular gun and let them shoot down enemies for free. I find that this limits the number of possibilities, but I think it means that all of the characters that I'm creating are working with the pacing and the structure of the game. I have more characters drafted currently, and I'm hoping to be able to keep working on this even after the game is released until I have a cast of at least 10 or more. And if you would like to try out Pluto or Void, I have a demo on itch. You can also join the Discord server to perhaps become a part of a future playtest, and I'm going to leave a link to the Discord below. On their journey, players are going to pick up a range of items that change how the game works. I'm a big fan of OP runs and feeling like you can peak in a different field every time, even if you use the same character in every run. This is really intrinsic to the genre, although without the ability to shoot your own bullets, itemization has had to take a bit of a different route. So there's a lot of custom items, for example, for each characters. I want to make a video just on itemization, and perhaps that'll be the next video because that lines up with what I'm currently working on. I'm wrapping up this first video here. It's mostly an intro sharing about what the game is about, as well as giving a little peek into my design philosophy. And when we talk more about items or enemy classes, I'll be able to share my design philosophy on those more in depth. But for now, I think this is a good start, and I'm hoping to make another video soon. I'm also down to make some tutorial style videos for the things I'm making, especially in shader graph and Aseprite. I'm definitely not an expert, but because I've had to make or come up with or Google 80% of the things for this game, I think it could be helpful to see my process for other game devs. So let me know if you're a game dev and you're watching this and there's things that you want to see, because I will definitely try and cater to that. But yeah, thanks for watching. Liking, commenting, subscribing, all very good ways to boost the video so other people can see it. And joining the Discord and giving me suggestions is very welcome. And of course, wishlisting, #1 way to support any game. I'll leave a link to the Steam page below. Yep, thanks again, and I will see you in the next one.